aren't they? And somebody just emailed me last night about this zipper that I was talking about. I was just talking about it, I think, last week. This is the size 5 YKK. It says like 5cc YKK, but it's got this huge zipper head. But look at how invisible it is. This is the bee's knees, guys. This is a wonderful zipper. I do like to get my zippers from Zipper Stop. And they are the first ones who got me connected with this type of zipper. I was looking for it. I used to see this on the Vera Wangs before you could find Vera Wang at David's Bridal. The Vera Wang, more like the designer kind of line, she had these wonderful zippers. I think Monique Lullier may have had them as well. And I called up Zipper Stop and I was like, what is this zipper? Where can I get it? And they were able to order them from me. So the rest is history. But yeah, we're going to put this zipper in. If anything, sorry, I'm like wearing baggy like clothes today. I don't know. It's overcast today, 3rd overcast day in a row. And it has been so hot, but the last few days has been like, just like lusciously not hot. So I don't know. I just feel like I'm trying to dress for like sweater weather. But if there was anything wrong with this zipper that is not suitable to this fabric is, I would say maybe the zipper tape's a little bit heavy for the application. But I also find that that can also give a little bit more support so that it's less likely to wave if it's put in correctly. So I feel like this is probably the best zipper for this dress. Everybody give me a hand wave emoji. Let's see who is here today. Give me a thumbs up if you're excited to see some tips about zippers today. Now we did try this dress on her. The zipper was not at all how she wanted it originally. So we took it out and we were going to be doing some resizing and reshaping with the zipper. So you can tell I kind of drew a line with the safety pins. That's the way that the zipper needs to go in. See how curved out this is? It's a very unusual shape. They're really giving the bum shape with the zipper area, which is kind of scary with the bias cut dress, right? So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I've taken the other one out. I put her in it, and then I just went down like this, went down this length of fabric and just kind of pinned the way that it was gonna lay best on her. So that's how we did that, and we're just gonna put it in today. Nice, lots of hand raising. Hello, so many familiar names in here. Hi, Christy, Miss Giselle, Janet, Mary, Irene, Liz, No Average Girl, Amy Boger, and Barbara, Roseanne. So good to see all of you today. Let's start working with this zipper. So I marked it on this side, but not this one. I always start, I don't know why, but I always start on the left. You guys found that you kind of just, you have your way, don't you? So we got to make sure that the lining is out of the way on both sides. And we're going to start with putting the zipper in on this side. Now let's talk about what's going to give this stability, because remember I said there's a couple things that makes you want to pack up your pin cushions and run, right? One is this is silk. Look at that. There's no secrets. Look at that, okay? It's bias cut, which it has a gorgeous drape. This looks vertical, but it's just because of how it's been hanging. And obviously we're doing a invisible zipper on the bias. So what I would do a lot of times is maybe take a really light interfacing and put it in here just along where I'm going to sew the zipper, just barely, like not much overlap into the outer layer of the dress that would show just enough to turn on that seam and that's it. I would do that to give a little bit of like body and stability to this. But they had other plans, the designer. Okay, this is from All Who Wander. They've got some very cute dresses. It's like a vibe, right? They layered this bias with another fabric that has no stretch. It's very light. It was cut on grain. So that is the way that they stabilize this. So we're going to play along. If I was making this dress, I would have put the fusible interfacing back here. That's the non-stretch, very lightweight, but that's not what they chose. So we're just going to kind of go with the flow for what they did. Now, one thing that does give me pause that I wonder about is this inner layer doesn't have that same curve that the bias layer has. Isn't that strange? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just kind of putting a little tension up here, a little down here, fluffing and seeing where it lands. And it's consistently landing like that. So I'm going to just trust that. And then I'm going to look at this side. I'm going to mirror them. I'm only pinning the silk layer. I'm not pinning that interfacing layer, okay? Got a pin in there. And I gotta go on down the line here. Don't forget, you want your little pins to be the tiniest little spot. So much more accurate. It's a lot less shifting around. This is going to be our marks for where the zipper is going to go. I'm not scared. Are you scared? Tell me in the comments. Are you scared? I don't know. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I'm still not scared. Oh. All right, there we go. So I still have my original marks here to go by. I can work on the one side and have my marks on the other side. Let's see, nobody's telling me. Are you scared or no? You scared of this? Are you scared of zippers in general? Do you hate them? All right, so I'm gonna look at this line and I'm gonna remember that I tried this on the girl and I just kind of pinned it, right? So I would say that this guy probably needs to come over here. There is that saying with sewing, it's so true, trust your pins. It really means something. But when you have like one little pin off by that little bitty bit, I'm just gonna go ahead and move it. It's not a big deal. All right, and then this one is just inside where it was originally, where the zipper originally went down. All right, so that's our line. So here we go. Definitely not my favorite. Pam says she's petrified. Don't be petrified. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is as I pin this zipper, that's when I'm gonna add the other layer to it. Okay, so we've got 2 layers here. And they're falling like this. One thing I did think about when I was thinking ahead on this, I thought about basting these 2 layers together. Just because they're so different. They behave different, they're shaped different, whatever. I don't know. We'll see if we need to. It's probably not a bad idea. Look at how they shift. Do you see me playing with it just to see how they're going to behave? They are shifting like crazy. Yeah. I think I'm going to go ahead and baste them together first, because every time I move them, they're just going crazy. Pam says I would. I don't mind basting stuff. Some people act like, oh, it's another step. Oh dear, whatever shall we do? But I don't care. It's fine. I'm going to lengthen my stitch a little bit here. And I hope I don't push any of these pins out. Might. Ugh, what a discrepancy, guys. Okay, so this right here is the original where they split. So I do want to... start right above that. And I'm really going to stretch this because I don't want it to pull at all. All right. Ooh. I kind of gathered up. I did a really long stitch there. Okay. Let's see. I lost a pin. I think I'm going to leave that one down there just to keep it going in the right direction. Okay. Got this here. Guys, tell me, what do you hate worse? Okay? Zippers or silk dresses on the bias? I was like, when I saw this one coming down the pike, I was like, I've got to do a video about this. All right, so I'm gonna put that little nub at the very top. And I always sew this kind of twice, all right? So the first time I sew it, I'm not worried about getting super close, okay? Let me go ahead and get the right foot on here. I'm worried about the tension of the fabric versus the zipper. That's what I'm concerned about for the first pass. I want to generally have the zipper put in the right place, and I want to make sure the zipper is not walking. That's my whole point. And then I go back through, and the second one is when I really want to get close to that zipper coil. Ooh, this one, that one's got quite the burr. Quite the burr. Okay, I'm putting a 9 ballpoint on this. I'm definitely threading this one up in my face off camera. Sorry. But, gosh, how impossible. All of you with your fish threaders, more power to you. I wish I could get them to work. I just don't. They just don't work for me. The cool thing about pre-threading, though, is you can really see which direction the eye is facing when you pull on that thread. So that's cool. Here we go. So much prep work before we even sew, isn't it? It's always like that with sewing. All right, here we go. This is going to be flipped up, and then we're going to have the lining sewn to the back. So it's kind of weird, but we're going to sew right through that top waist part. Okay, so again, I'm not trying to get super close right now. I'm not even trying to nail her sizing with this. If this ends up being a little bit loose in the back, I can tighten the dress at the side seams. All right, so I'm kind of pouncing on that. You see that? I don't want to like stretch and pull to get it to lay right. All right, so this looks like a good spot for this part of the zipper. And then I'm gonna connect to here. Let me see, can you see all this okay? Let me get you a little closer. Somebody is asking, what's the point of the ballpoint needle? Does it help with the fabric? I just buy all of my size 9 needles in a ballpoint just because a lot of times when I'm reaching for the 9, I'm working with tools or knits that are really fine, and so I just have ballpoints. So I just specified that. If you have a regular one, it's probably fine. That's just how I buy it. Barb is asking, what's a fish threader? You can look them up on Amazon. I had them in one of my videos of my like weird Amazon sewing supplies. And it was kind of funny what happened is I tried the fish threader, did not work. There was an uprising in the comments about the fish threaders upside down and people love them or whatever. So I did a follow-up short with trying them the other way. Okay. Those people in the comments didn't know, like all you see is the edited version. They didn't know I had actually tried them both ways and it didn't work for me either way. So I just made the video showing one way. So they're like, turn it upside down, you goofy head. Like, that's what's wrong. So I did a short that was a follow-up where I flipped it the other way and it still didn't work. So I just can't get it to work. And the other thing is it's this hook that you put through the eye to get the thread. The hook is too big to go through the eye of, I think it was my 9s or my 11s. I think it might have gone through my 14s, definitely went through my 18s. But my whole point is I don't need a threader for an 18. Like, who needs that? Like, that's easy. You don't even have to really have it close to your face to get that right. It's the 9s that are more difficult. Like the ones that you would need it for, that's the one it doesn't work for. So I was frustrated. So anyhow, that's the story of the fish threader. Amanda says, I always hand baste when I do it, never used my machine. All right, well, there's different ways. I can tell you if it's particularly fussy, still I need to make sure I'm in frame. If it's particularly fussy, I'll use my knee lift and do a free motion down it. I do that sometimes, but I rarely hand baste a zipper. I know, I'm in trouble, right? Okay, so I'm gonna put a little pressure back here and we're gonna sew. I'm gonna stop about here. Let's see where our next guy is gonna be. Right here. Yeah, I do like that I basted that lining layer behind there. Then I'm not having to figure out where he is the whole time. All right, here we go. Make sure there's nothing weird going on the underside. I'm aligning this with my next pin. Okay. And let's see. Where is it? There's something in here that marks where the end of the zipper. Okay, it was right here. We're about at the end, guys. It's nice. All right, so I'm going to go to about here and stop. The zipper wasn't that long. You know how the bias dresses just have all this give? So the zipper didn't go very long into the skirt. This bobbin casing still feels a little weird. Remember that from the other day? My little fuzz ball that was stuck in it. Still feels a little weird. I probably just need to replace it. Somebody asked again, even though I said it several times, they're like, why don't you just unscrew it and take it apart and whatever? I'm just afraid that when I do that, there's like a little spring in there and I'm not going to be able to figure out how to get it right and all that. And the bobbin casings are super cheap. I literally just don't work on them. I just don't. All right, so this is kind of what I was going by. I think the original zipper stopped here. And I've got a little bit of a bubble in this lining right here. I think I'm gonna undo that. If this were cut on the grain, I wouldn't. It's not that big of a deal. But with bias cut, silk, and a zipper, every little thing counts. And I'm going to leave my little thread trail in there. That's going to show me where to sew, because I took the pin out. All right. Let's see how this goes. Try to get this flat again. There we go. I'm going to go to about right here. Pressure front and back. So many people will tell you, never pull from the back. I'm not really pulling. I'm putting a little bit of tension on it, and I'm tracking with what the feed dogs are doing. I'm not pulling extra, but putting that tension on it front and back and tracking. Okay, are you picturing what I'm saying? That, I don't think I could sew without doing that. Like, I wouldn't be able to sew near as well as I do without doing that. It's so important to my technique. So if you were ever told that, like, don't ever put your hand back there, don't ever apply any pressure back there, don't pull your fabric through. If you had somebody over your shoulder just really driving that home when you were learning to sew, this is your permission to go ahead and try it and let me know what you find with it, because I don't want to live in a world when I can't do that. Nope, I'm not sewing in that world. Sometimes traditional, often spoken advice is bad advice. I hate to break it to you, but it is. Okay, look at how beautiful that's laying. This is going to be okay. Yay! It's in there. All right, and then I love, this is another tip that I learned years ago with sewing zippers. I learned to really open up far down below the zipper, so you've got lots of room to ease in from the bottom of the zipper where that stops to another point at your skirt. Don't just open your skirt to like here, for instance, and then try to get that in without a bump. No, the priority is getting the zipper in without a bump, and then give yourself a good 12 inches, 14 inches, whatever it takes to get from here to the skirt without a bump. Huge, wonderful, such a helpful tip. Don't forget that. How many of you guys do these things that I'm mentioning, and how many of these things are new to you? So these pins were marking that I knew I needed to bring in the size at least down to here. So I'm still gonna open this up further. The thing about really opening up that center back seam way down, that was one of the biggest game changers for me with zippers. I would say that, and the basting and the marking of landmarks, which we're getting ready to get into. Those are like the biggest changes for me. All right, before we start on this side, I'm going to read the comments and see if you guys have any questions. We have to align this other side just as well. Transfer these pins, all that. We're going to do all that again. And then don't forget, I'm going to show you how to ease in the bottom of that zipper. Let's see. Do you baste with machine instead of hand? Do you always do this? Yeah, mostly. Let's see. Barb hates both the bias and the zipper. Let's see. Okay, Miss Giselle, always based by hand. Yeah, a lot of you guys are hand basters. That's fine. Let's see. Darla, hi Brenda, I'm working on a dress just like this. So just now was able to get on the chat. I will watch and then rewatch this. I'm still having issues with the hip line and bubble at the butt. Darla, okay guys, I've seen the pictures of the dress that Darla is talking about. I feel like, okay, bias dresses are meant to drape, okay? I feel like, and now I'm not there, I'm not saying 100%, but from the pictures, I feel like that dress didn't even need to be taken up. And the bride is pressuring you because she's pulling on the hip and she's finding these bubbles and she's stretching it out. She's telling you that it's too big. And I feel like the dress, if anything, is probably too small. When you're getting waves in the side seams or the zipper of the bias, it is telling you that the dress is too tight. And no one can tell me otherwise, because when you drape bias, it flows. It wants to flow. When you put tension on it, that's when you're going to get your bubbles. And what I try to explain to my brides when they come in and they start pulling on it, okay? Sketch time. Let's talk about doing some work on the bias. All right, let's chat because we're here to learn, right? Okay, so your bride comes in and she's got this dress. She's going like this. This is just how these dresses are. So she's got, this is just the way bias goes, all right? It's pulling in this kind of little bit zigzaggy way. If it's not pulling, it's at least draping that way. You can kind of follow the paths of the draping. You've got this going on from the back. From the back, you've got this going on at the zipper, okay? From the side, you've got this going on. No bride is coming to me looking at this, pinching here, pinching and pulling, and telling me that this dress is too big. Because if you let it out, all of this is going to relax. These are going to relax. This is going to relax. These bunchings are only from a horizontal tension. There's no way around that. So if she's coming in here and pinching, what I try to explain to them is they can grab their dress, and you can demonstrate this for them. They can grab their dress here, okay, on the sides, my little mitten hands, and they can pull, and pull and pull. And all that's going to happen is more of these lines and their dress is going to get shorter. Okay? A bias dress is going to allow you to keep pulling at those hips. It can be too tight and she can just pull and pull and pull till oblivion, and her skirt is coming up and the wrinkles are getting worse. So being able to pinch an inch on the side does not mean that the dress is too big. And that's what they come to you with. They don't know what they're talking about, okay? We respect their vision. They're our bride. We want to make their day. But sometimes you have to look at what end result do they want. Can someone give me a thumbs up on this? Because this is going to make or break a crying episode in your fitting room, or even yourself in front of the mirror and you're trying to figure out what's going on. Hit that like button or hit a heart if you're liking this extra instruction with the sketching. It really, really helps. Thank you so much. They're going to come in. They're going to swear up and down because they can pinch that it's too big and they want you to fix it. And that all these rumples, if you pinch them, it shows you that they're too big, and so you need to take it up to make it fit. Your job is to look at what end result do they want and how do you give them that. Your job is not to what end result do they want and you execute it the way they tell you. No. She's a bride. She's not a seamstress. If she was a seamstress, she'd be doing it herself. So sorry. I covered my mic. I hope that was okay. If she's a underwriter for a mortgage company, let her do that. That's her jam. She knows. If she wants to talk about mortgages, then listen to her. But if she's not a seamstress, you don't need to listen to her about how you achieve the result. If there's bumps and waves, it's too tight. Okay? So just show her that. It doesn't matter how tight it is. They can, on a bias skirt, they can pull it all they want to pull it. You can still pull it. That doesn't have anything to do with whether or not it's tight or not. So that is my little tip-o-rama for fitting the bias dress. All right, let's see. Christy, she feels like it's more support. I think you're talking about, are you talking about at the side seam? You feel like maybe it needs more support? Because sometimes, yes, sometimes we put a narrow horsehair braid along that, but very rarely. That's more when you're into troubleshooting and you can't let it out anymore and you've just got a little bit of misbehaving going on the side seams and you got to fix that. That's when I would do that. I wouldn't actually kind of bake that in as part of my method, if that makes sense. No average girl. Yes, opening the seam up further down makes a world of difference. Darla, I'm learning tremendous things on these live streams. Been going back and looking at the past ones too. Yay. Jennifer, I've always had a hard time transitioning at the bottom of the zipper. Yep, that's right. Marusha, it's helpful. I'm so glad. Yes, Marie, that's a perfect way of saying it. Bias dresses are not meant to be tight. The weave loves curves. The weave loves to drape. And when you put tension on it, it interrupts that. They're not meant to be tight. I've said this so many different times. They should glide. That's right. Darla, Def got it too tight. Yep. And I'm learning not to cut while going through the fitting process. Ain't that the truth? Oh, okay. Yeah, just that little tension. Holding the zipper when putting it in. Let's see. Yes, it is more support. You're right. All right, let's get back to doing this other side. If you guys have any questions, drop them in now. That way I'll see them when I resurface and to come and look at the questions. Okay, let's see. This has come apart a little bit right here. I gotta resew. Okay, this is inside of where I'm gonna end up. So to mark this, I'm gonna bounce this just a little bit. Don't ever do that on something that's gonna be visible on the outside of the garment. But it just kind of opened those holes a little bit. I didn't do anything sharp. If I needed to go back in, hit it with steam and rub with the grain both ways with a piece of bone, it would heal over. But that's the way I'm going to make my mark there. I have to repair this, put this back together before we move on. So I'm going to make sure those old creases are lined up. Nice. Okay. Clean up all the trash there. Much better. All right, so we've got that. Now let's do this again. Darla, one trick I like to do if somebody is insistent that their bias cut dress is too big and they want it brought in and they're just not hearing it, sometimes you can just be like, oh yeah, we need to get rid of those bumps, whatever, and you don't even say what you're going to do to fix it, and you just let it out and don't tell her. You just say, I'm going to fix it. Like, why say something that is going to alarm them and cause a fight, you know? All right, so I'm aligning their old stitches and for like the stabilizing layer and this outer layer. That's a good reason not to press this. You're probably wondering, why did she not press this lining layer? It's such a mess. Well, that's why, because there's some wayfaring information in there. Oh, I hate this bobbin casing. When this is over, I'm going to throw it out the window. I did get it fixed. Yesterday it sewed fine. Today it's doing that thing of being extra tense again. I'm not putting up with it. Nobody has time for that. All right, so this is the actual lining. This inner lining is kind of our stabilizing layer. All right, so I'm gonna swap these pins out. And then we're gonna go through and do our zipper. It's funny the little things that can give you joy in your sewing room. This, I'm chucking my pins over here. This is a vintage butter dish without the top part, so I'm sure it was cheap. And it's carnival glass. Look how pretty it is. Can you see that? I love this. So I just like threw a magnet on there and I'm just tossing my safety pins in there. So it's a pin holder. Look at how brilliantly beautiful. So anyhow, thought I'd share the moment. It just brings me a little bit of joy and beauty throughout my day. That, and then the little mushroom pin cushion, and then I have a little teacup pin cushion. I'm gonna stop changing the pins out here because remember last time I kind of got disoriented. I was like, where did that stop? That's where it is. All right, so we're gonna put the little nub, that little stop up at the top here. I always roll this in, come down to here, go back up like this, and then place it. So that way I know it's being placed right. Do I sometimes still sew one side in upside down? I sure do. I sure do. All right, so we're gonna come through here and here. And I like to sew bottom up on this side. So on the left, I do top down. Right side, I do bottom up. And I just put little landmarks in here. Okay, again, I'm not stretching. I'm kind of giving it its lead. Just like that little bitty pin dipping in there. All right. So what do I mean by landmarks is if we had a seam here that we needed to align, I would definitely zip this up. And on the zipper tape, I would mark like boom, boom. So that way I know it aligns with the seam. All right. So with this one, we don't really have that going on, but I did stop sewing right here on the left. I did deepen this a little bit for her. So I'm just going to go boom, boom. So we're going kind of straight across there and there. Heat erasable, still inside of where this pin is going to be, or where the seam is going to be, because remember, these don't completely erase. Everything's looking good. Yeah, so if there were any other landmarks here, I would just go straight across. And I haven't done my little snuggled up stitch yet. We got to do that run in a bit as well. All right, here we go. So this gives me this guidance of aligning these. That's where we're going to start. Make sure. Okay. Make sure everything is nice and bouncy and free. Okay. Don't let your pin cross your zipper coil and then put your presser foot down on it because you'll damage the coil. So I'm going to back this pin off just a little bit. And I'm going to do my little lock right there. It needs to be a little tighter than this though. I'm going to show you that. Why I'm working to the side of where it needs to end up being. It's a very interesting reason. It's another one of my like favorite tips about zippers that's coming up. This pin I put in backwards. I like to put them in where the head is facing me, not heading toward the presser foot. That just feels unsafe and fidgety. All right, so it's clear underneath. Here we go. I'm gonna lock it. Make sure everything's looking good. It really is. This is going very smooth, guys. No pressure. Everything's moving together. Oop, broke my needle. That's okay. We're at the very end. That's what we get for using a 9, don't we? They break so easy. All right, so let's get these guys out of here. Now that that's kind of basted in, we're going to double check just to make sure nothing shifted. I don't feel like it did, but it's just good due diligence. Let's make sure everything lines up. Looks wonderful. We don't have any waving going on here. Yay! Give me the wave emoji. There's no waving, so we're going to wave. All right, so we've got that going on. I'm going to switch my needle yet again. I love using like a 9 or 11 on this, nice and sharp and fresh. So that way, if I have to undo anything, we're still sitting pretty. There's no scarring done to this fabric. Let's see. There. Let's see, that's all I have for that size is a 9 ballpoint. All right, let me see your comments here. Amy, you're exactly right. Managing expectations sometimes is the biggest job. Isn't that the truth? Christy thinks my little half butter dish is gorgeous. Patricia, love your decor. Thank you. It's not for everybody. Somebody in one of my comments, it was so funny. Like, okay, my prior studio, for any of you that have watched kind of the OG videos, 2017 and whatnot, it was very like the Swedish minimalist, hyper organized, but everything was like light colored gray, light wood, whatever. Well, in this space, I've gone more maximalist and more like the dark academia, romantic, whatever. Lots of plants, dark botanical. I love it, and I love the contrast. Like, I don't struggle with filming with the contrast near as much as I did before, so I'm very happy with it. But somebody said in the comments one time, like, Sometimes I find that having fewer things just helps my mind to not be so cluttered. And it was like her like real like tap dance around it kind of way to say like she's a minimalist, I'm a maximalist. She doesn't like this. It's so funny. Um, let's see. Darla, I watched a bunch of shorts and I love the one of your favorite feet and beat. That's right. Whenever I do those, um, who is it? Is it Demetra? She calls me Bren Bren. Like I'm a rapper or something. It's funny. Stacy, I call that a key. Oh, you're talking about the little landmarks? Yeah. Oh goodness, Patricia, I can't get my Juki to sew while lifting the foot. It breaks the thread. Are you only doing that with a size 18 needle? That is the deal. Gutermann thread. You guys could spray paint this on your wall. I promise you. This is 99.999% of the time. If somebody can't free motion with one of these machines, they're like using a size 14 needle or something, or they're using like Coates and Clark, or God forbid, Maxi Lock. Gross. Ugh. If you love Maxi Lock, more power to you. I hate it. It breaks. Nope, I don't have time for that. Gutermann thread in a size 18 needle. That's your biggest keys to being on your way to be able to do free motion with your machine. So hopefully that will help, Patricia. Let me know if you're doing the 18 or not, because that was the big breakthrough for me. And it's funny, I can do a video and I will emphasize those things to the hilt just like I did, like very obvious, dramatic emphasis. And people will still email me and be like, I can't get it to work. What's wrong? And I'm like, well, are you using size 18 needle? Well, no, all I had was a 14. I'm like, that's the whole point. It's not going to work. It's like, are you going to try to hook up a U-Haul to your vehicle without a trailer hitch? It's not going to work. That is how important the size 18 needle is to the free motion. So, yeah. Don't try it without it. That's for sure. Okay, I'm trying to get this turned. Ah, oops. It turned too far. How is your weather where you're at? Is it cooling down where you're at? I'm so glad it's cooler. I can't deal with hot weather. Those of you who are like in Florida or Georgia, I don't know how you do it. All right, so let's just really snuggle in now. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna roll this cord to the side. Let me see if I can get you a little closer. I'm not judging you, Stacy. She uses a leather needle for free motion. That's an even bigger eye. That's why that works. No, that's great. I'm not judging you. I'm in the UK. It's mild here. Well, cool beans, guys. I'm happy for you because I love that weather. Sorry, earthquake. Sorry. Summer heat is gone where Christy is. Yay. All right, guys. Hopefully you can really see that. Ooh, I'm zooming in. Yes. You are zoomed in. Let's see, I gotta try to get it to focus though. I feel like I lost some of the focus. All right. So I'm rolling this out is my point here, right? Okay. Roll out and get all the way to the very edge. And I'm gonna keep on rolling with my finger as we are moving down. The zipper can't walk because it's already been put in place, so I don't even have to think about that. How liberating. Okay, we're gonna go all the way to this stitch. That's where we agreed we would stop. Both sides agree. My overly tense bobbin casing. Beautiful. There we go. This is gonna go either like this, with the way this raises up, that's gonna work, right? Or if that didn't work, we would have to quickly tuck her down that way and hide her in the lining. I hope it's still focusing for you guys. All right, so let's do the other side. And I'm still not paying attention to this resizing pin right here, okay? I'm gonna tell you why in just a minute. One of my other tips that I adore for zippers. All right, so I rolled it. I'm all the way to the edge. Let's go. Nothing is under there. My finger is almost working like an attachment. It's an attachment for me. Except for the day it wasn't. One day I did run over my thumb one day and had an accident. Had to go to the ER and get my attachment put back on. Fun fact, okay? Half of you guys are not going to believe this story. Shoot, it stopped picking up there. Half of you guys aren't going to believe the story. The other half will. This nail, I don't know if you guys always notice, this nail grows like, okay, I just trimmed these. I'm not kidding. A day or two ago, maybe? Just trimmed them. The same length. They were the same length. This one is always like really long. And I do my nails all at the same time, okay? So this one grows faster. This one grows faster because I dropped a rock on it once and it's like a newer nail, like the nail bed, like, I don't know, something about it was fresh. So this one, I guess, still has the healing hormones going on from when I was a kid. This one grows faster. This is my absolute fastest growing nail. And it's because I cut it off. I cut my thumb off like this much one time and had it put back on. And I guess like the healing hormones are still there. Like my husband broke his wrist. The wrist that he broke, the hair is always like more coarse on that arm there. And it's a little thicker. It's like the healing hormones are still there. And so something about that, this nail always grows like literally twice as fast as the other one. So again, take it or leave it if you believe it or not. It's fine with me. I do need to re-sew the tip of this zipper because when I got to the very tip, that's when the needle broke. And then when I got to the top of it for this final stitch, that's when my thread gave out. So I really still need to go back over the top of that and be very, very sure about that. So let's find that and polish up that situation here. I'm going to start down here a little to the right of that final thread. All right, here we go. Go up in here. Yay. Let's clean things up. Now I'm going to show you that other little dealio that I was talking about that we do. To bring it in. Those of you who love to keep like pinned reminders in the clothes, like for how much you're taking it in, this part's going to kind of curdle your milk. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to know that I'm coming in like 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch tighter than the original seam for the next 6 to 8 inches. That's what I'm saying in my brain, okay? I'm going to take these out. I know, it's horrifying, but we can remember this. We can absolutely remember this. It's no big deal, okay? No big deal. All right, let's do... I got to get to the inside of the dress now. I'm going to tunnel up. Tunnel up. And we need to let these two layers separate. Just like they did here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm cutting back just like 1/8 of an inch inside of that seam. All right, we're going to let that drop off in there. We don't have to finish that off anymore at all. I don't want this finished off super tight and pulling, because remember, this is the first introduction to anything on grain for this fabric. So I don't want anything crazy going on. I want it to just kind of flow. And it's not going to look unfinished because it's your in-between layer. It's not your lining or your shell. So that's what I'm going to do there. So what I do is I zip this up. Ooh, look how pretty. Pretty, pretty. Nice. No puckers. Looking good. All right, so I'm going to put the zipper down in there, and I'm got a hold of this. I'm going to turn it inside out, keeping this stabilizing layer out of the way. I'm going to take these guys, the extra allowance for the zipper of that silk layer. I'm going to pinch that and the zipper tape over to the right. Okay. I'm going to line these guys up down here. And remember, we're going to come in just a little to the left of this to tighten this up. So what you do is you find where you stopped sewing the zipper, which is right here. And you're going to back up like 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. See that? Okay. Got to make sure everything is out of the way on the back side. Number one problem right there. That's the number one thing that makes you redo. So we're going to be working starting a little bit above here, bumped in like 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. All right. Hold that thought. We're changing to our right zipper foot or right narrow foot. Drop me a heart emoji, guys. If we're too quiet on here for too long, YouTube will kill it because they'll be like, there's nothing going on. So I need you chattering in the comments. I need you dropping emojis. It's very, very important. If you don't, YouTube may not even recommend my live streams to you, and then you'll miss them. So you've got to interact for them to know. All right, so I've got it right here by that pin. Lower that in there. Align these guys. Let's lock this. Definitely lock it. Again, this is bumped up a little bit above where we finished sewing the zipper and a little bit outside. And we're working on resizing the dress with this. But we always bump this out to the left of the zipper, always. It's so important. That's what gives the bottom of your zipper that little nest of fabric to just fade off into and hide into. That's what that little bit does. It's so important. All right, so I can see my little wounds from my pins. I'm gonna go ahead and keep sewing right where those are. I have a fresh needle, so I'm not contributing to that marking. All right, so here's about where I stopped. So I'm going to keep sewing. Let's keep going. Make sure it's completely level. And we're gonna feed into the seam. And we're just really taking our time getting there so it's not obvious. I don't want that seam to pucker at all, so I really squeezed this when I pulled it away. All right, so we got this. Now what I would do here is I'm just gonna sew this to probably one side. Make sure I'm really not putting any tension on here. No big deal at all. Okay, I'm gonna cut this through. And then we need to sew a little zipper stop. You can also buy zipper stops. I just don't. I just don't buy them. I just sew them. It's not a big deal. Do my little knot. Do you guys do your knots like this? I'm always so fascinated with the way people knot things. And I am seeing that my thread skipped some stitches. So I'm going to go back and re-sew that. I'm not going to bore you with that detail right now, but I'm going to re-sew it. That's not uncommon for this kind of silk to put up a little bit of a fight and skip some stitches. So just do your sewing a couple times. It probably didn't skip when I was going through the zipper tape. It was just because it was that silk to silk. And probably the bobbin casing too. I'm finding this upper thread is really popping around a lot right now. It's having to do a little extra work. All right, so there's my little zipper stop. There's a knot. I don't have to knot again because there's already a knot. All right, so this lining, we're gonna sew that in. It's so easy, guys. Let me flip this. Okay, this is beautiful. Just checking how this looks. Looks beautiful. Let me see. Okay, this is not even steamed or pressed yet. Let me show you guys. This is what we're going for. I'm gonna put a little bit of a curve on it here. Let me see. This is what I meant. Gosh, it's not even pulling away. There it is. That's why we went a little bit to the left. So you've got that little nest to help cover this. And this is probably going to be fine because it's still on her butt curve. And when you curve it, it looks really good. So I'm going to steam this. It'll probably be fine. If it's not fine, I would just re-sew the top of that. But you can see that line, how beautiful that goes. All right, so to get our lining in here, see, that's what I'm talking about. There's your little stop right there. To get your lining sewn. This is so easy. If you hand sew this, that's fine. I'm not judging you. But it's so easy to just grab these and machine sew them. All right, so we're coming in. This top part, I would probably, just because of how this part, it's kind of weird how they did it. They didn't line this waistband. So this part would have to be hand sewn, but typically I just come across like here and just zoop right across, okay? What you do is you're gonna take your lining and just step it over a little bit. That's your rollover that you're gonna have on the outside. So you step it over and you align this crease with where you're starting, okay? I'm gonna scooch down just a little bit. So you're gonna find this old crease. Remember, this is why I did not press it out. I know some of you in the beginning were like, why is she not pressing? And keeping this right zipper foot on gives you a nice space between the coil and your stitch. So you got that. And we're gonna join these up and sew them too. Remember, the coil's on the left. I've got my space. Then I've got my seam. So we do it on that side, we do it on the other side, and then same thing, we're gonna join the bottom of the lining. That I never really undid though, so I don't have to redo that part. But I just turn this completely right side out again. And then I grab the other side. You can also flip it around from the inside. You can like traverse your way around the world on the inside if you want to, but I just find it's easier. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this again. Here we go. We've got same deal. That little crux is going right over here. We're gonna sew her down. See how we never let that edge, that curved little edge, dictate how we were gonna sew this zipper. We just completely ignored that. All right, let's put this right side out. So now what I need to do is I'm gonna read any questions you guys have. I need to hand sew the top of this like I talked about. I need to put a hook and loop on it, right? And I definitely need to steam this, and I'm gonna resew that seam. But that's the steps for that. And then she will be finished and ready for the fitting. All right, let me see your questions. Anyone? Thank you, No Average Girl, says Flawless. Let's see. Christy, that's so clean, I can't see anything. Save the zipper. Yes, please save. That's cool. I've never sewn the lining like that. Miss Giselle, oh my goodness. It takes, it just takes so much less time. I love sewing them like that. I'm so glad you got a new technique today. That's so fun. Stacy, I've started replacing fixtures and storage with black dark options. Yes, to avoid becoming snowblind. Thank you. That's what was happening. It was just like white on gray on beige on cream, and there's no contrast. So now look at all the contrast we have. I love it. If you learned something today, drop it in the chat. Let me know what your big takeaway was. Hit that like button. I know all of you haven't yet hit the like button because I can see how many people are on and how many likes we have. So hit that like button if you get a chance. Drop a heart emoji if you don't feel like typing what you learned. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for being with me today. We went over an hour today. We did an hour and 10 minutes. Have a beautiful weekend, and we'll see you back here Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. Remember, we do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard for a vertical live stream. Take care, guys. Bye.